Shalom, 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 yasha'Allah. This your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called The Devil and His Tactics. The Devil and His Tactics. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and His only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and its truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. Like I said, the tactics of the devil. All right, or the devil and his tactics. All right, this is from ABC News. And it says CDC panel abandons the jump shot vacay recommendations, saying it's a personal choice. It says a panel of vacay advisors on Friday voted to abandon its previous universal recommendation for the annual jump shot vac. It says for anyone 6 months and older, with the committee unanimously voting to instead suggest that Babylonians can get the shot based upon individual decision making, meaning it's a personal choice. All right, so we understand when this thing happened, and it was, they tried to push it as a mandatory, right? They tried to use tactics, to have people taking this, right? And there's a lot of people who took the juicy juice. All right, they took this stuff, and now they're just recommending that. It's a personal choice now, right? Even though now, they schooling, they I believe they require, students, kids and different stuff to take this stuff. All right, but now it's a personal choice, right? After you've stuck, a numerous amount of people, all right? And a numerous amount of people have been, deleted for this thing. Now, it's no longer a recommendation, but it's a personal choice, all right? But this is the devil and his works, all right? So it says the Department of Health and Human Services told ABC's News federal vacay programs will continue to cover the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention policies, and many major insurers said they would continue to cover the cost of the vacation. It says through at least 2026, no matter how the committee voted this week. In a separate vote, members decided not to suggest that the states require a prescription, right, for the juicy juice, all right, the juicy juice vacation, with many members saying this would create unnecessary barriers. Another separate action, members voted that the CDC communicate clear risk about the juicy juice vacation materials that states can choose to give to patients when they get the vacation, all right, and list at least 6 of those risks, okay? And that's the thing, right? They knew the things that this, that juicy juice had in it, all right? And they made it, we recommend everybody gets this, that, you're right? Now all of a sudden, it's a personal choice. right? Hey, this devil is crafty, man, right? It says the votes follow the Food and Drug Administration's recent narrowing of the Juicy Juice vacation to smaller groups of Babylonians, those over 65 with underlying medical conditions. Although the FDA and CDC are sister agencies under the Department of Health and Human Resources, the FDA is a regulator and CDC makes recommendations. All right. It says public health officials are still analyzing the vote implications for access to the juicy juice. All right. And you still got people who they seen the things and the effects that these things have done, and they're still running and yep, they'll say, yep, jab me up with this stuff, right? Even though they had a whole what was that, like a house, a senate or whatever, they went over that stuff. You had your boy who was a Fauci, right? They were drilling him and he's like, yeah, we made up the 6 feet. you know we did all that, right? It was all kind of a, yeah, we just made it up as we went. All right. But then they pushed people to get it, right? They told people that they're going to lose their jobs, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, right? And now, it's your own personal choice. All right. Hey, after they, have caused many to go to sleep in this thing, right? I got to kind of speak in code because we know how this thing goes. It says there is a significant difference in public health between recommendation and you could get it if you want approach. And it's unclear how individual states will respond to the language by removing the word recommended to designated juicy juice vacations. It says the committee is weakening years-long guidance for universal pokes to combat, it says if the committee's vote to codify by acting as CDC director, Juicy Juice Vacation will no longer recommend, but anyone 6 months old or older who want to get, right? Now, what 6-month old wants to get the Juicy Juice Vacation? All right. It says to the extent that they can navigate the potential confusion and the individual states' rules. All right. So it says many members of the panel selected by the Health and Human Resources Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. questioned the vacation's benefit, but ultimately voted that most Babylonians can still have access, ideally following the discussion with their healthcare provider, although that is not a requirement. Okay. It says the panel said people should know, right, that the Juicy Juice Vacation are most beneficial for people with risk of severe illness based on, and we saw people, I'm going to leave it at that, right? Because we saw people who, were perfectly fine. They went out and they, you had celebrities, all right, older celebrities, and I can just think about some jakes, right, that they used, to say, go ahead and do it. And then what? I remember one within 2 weeks, all right, of getting the Juicy Juice Vacation. They took that permanent vacation, all right, to the spirit world, all right. Then you had others, took time, right? And then you have people now who took the Juicy Juice and have underlining, things, right? Because what it said, it has 6 major, what does it say? Where was that at? Salakia. I'm just going to go over a couple of scriptures and close it out. Oh, it says, here it says, in another separate action, members voted that the CDC communicate clear risk about the Juicy Juice vacation. It says materials that states can choose to give to patients when they get, the Juicy Juice that list at least 6 of those risks. Okay. And remember, they kind of just winged it, right? They winged it and then they pushed it as a recommendation. Now, they say it's a personal choice, right? But that's the craftiness, all right, of this devil, man. All right. And I might, title it that, the craftiness of this devil. All right. Because he, they're, that's their whole mission, man. They're, they love to do wickedness. All right. The scriptures say, and the thing about it is, you still have simple Jake. All right. Let's get this real quick, though. This is Proverbs 4. And let's go to verse 14. It says, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. It says, avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. It says, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. All right. And what? That was a creation, all right, that they did to cause a lot of people to fall. All right. They tossed and turned about that. Right. And now, evidently their agenda to that part has been met. Now they're saying, hey, you know what? Now it's a personal choice, right? Before, remember, you couldn't get into restaurants, you couldn't get into movie theaters. And listen, all this was a test run, all right, for what's coming up. Okay? They wanted to test and see, if they implement something, how many people, all right? And what's crazy, because they on my smart, news app they used to have, and they had a whole section of it. And I remember looking at it, and it was showing like how many, and I believe the last few numbers, it was around 66 or 67%, all right, of Babylonians, who took this juicy juice, man, who took at least one, right? They had statistics and data that would run. I should have took a snapshot of it, but it was like, of course that was a few years ago, but it was like 60 something percent of people who took it. All right. And remember, so they tried to say, people need to try and get it. Then they got a little more aggressive. Listen, we'll give you money. We'll give you this. We'll give you tickets to the game. Right. And people still weren't doing. Then they were starting to threaten people, man. All right. We're not going to be able to go here. You're not going to be able to go there. And all of a sudden they lightened up. All right. It was to see how many people would fold. And there was a lot of people that folded, and, folks and, brothers and sisters, they probably know people in their family, all right, who did it, went behind, your back and, got the whole family juicy juiced, because what, they was, oh my gosh, we got to do this because, and it's like, what is that? It just reminds me of Slovakia. What is that? Proverbs. Let's get that. Proverbs 14 and verse number 15. Right? It says, "The simple believeth every word." Right? You got a lot of simple-minded people out here. Right? Oh yeah, no, you got to take this. Oh no, you got to take it. Right? No, listen, I got family members, I got, parents sick and this, that, and the other. No, you got to take this. Right? And you got people, healthy people who took it and is in the spirit world now. for taking it, right? Because they didn't tell you all the things that was in that stuff. The nice juicy juice concoction that they put into you, right? But they scare people, the simple-minded people, into taking it. And now they're saying, it's not a recommendation anymore. It's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. All right. So it says, let me read this. Proverbs 14:15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. All right. So it says only simpletons in the NLT believe everything they're told. The prudent carefully consider their steps. Okay. And the wise are like, I don't know about that. Right. And even if you got it, guess what? Your body is built to what? To fight off, diseases and different things. All right. Your body is able to, with your immune system, is able to fight off different things. All right. But what do? You go get the juicy juice. All right. What does it do? It lowers your immune system. Right. Now, I'm not a doctor. Right. But, you got these different things, and you see a lot of people, man, who were healthy before, and went in, they took the juicy juice, right? Then they went into the uh the hospital and never came back out. Okay. So what was I gonna get? Salaki. Oh, 2 Corinthians. Let's get that. 2 Corinthians 11 and verse number. Did I pass it up? Let me see. I think is it 5? Salakia. Bear with me, please. Oh, wrong thing. Had it wrong. 2 Corinthians 2:11. All right, and it reads, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, we know the schemes that this devil is trying to do, man. All right, we know the tactics that he's trying to do, right? And he's trying to cause many to fall, right? And there's many simple people that, and what do? They're going to fall, all right, into the trap of Esau, man. All right. And like I said, all this was a trial run, all right, for what? For Revelation 13:16. All right. They're going to, start off just like they did. Hey, we need people to go and take this to listen, we're going to give people, extra, what is that? UBI, universal basic income, right? We're going to give you a little extra, for taking it, right? And to those who don't, hey, listen, you won't be allowed to do anything to, hey, listen, if you find them, it's on site. All right. It's going to be a mandatory thing, right? And they've tested it out. They see how they need to move, how much pressure they need to apply for people for the simple minded to get in line. All right. Willingly. All right. This is what they're going to be doing. All right. This is what they're going to be doing. All right. So it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right. NLT says, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. All right. And we're familiar with the evil schemes. All right. Let's get this and we'll probably close it out. All right. But I just, I saw that article and all you can do is just kind of chuckle, because it's like, as much as they pushed and they wanted people to, to take it, here you go. All right. Let's go to the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus 12:10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right? I'm going to jump down. It says, verse 13, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with the serpent? It says, or any such as come nigh to wild beasts, so one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? All right. You want to be simple. You want to follow the ways of Esau, right? And his wickedness, his sorcery. All right. Hey, who's going to pity that? All right. When you voluntarily line up. All right. It says, for a while he will abide with thee, but if thou will begin to fall, he will not tarry. And you just think about it too. They had, your boy Sleepy Joe and these other people, being the forerunners and sitting there, right? And getting what? Probably getting injected with a placebo. It was nothing. They are telling you, take this. Yeah, you need to take this. All right. It says, verse 16, it says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how he may throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. All right? Because his ultimate thing is to try to destroy you. All right? And he's going to use all his tactics that he can. All right? And then once his job is complete, go away with it. All right. So that mission was completed, right? And now no longer is it a recommendation, but it's a personal choice now. All right. So I just wanted to do this, this quick lesson, man. You got to be wise as a serpent, man, out here. All right. Because the devil, what does it say? The devil as a roaring lion seeketh who he may devour, man. And you got to be watching. All right. You can't be simple-minded in these things. All right. You should be going to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. All right. For all things. All right. And not Esau. Okay. Because Esau, all he's trying to do is to deceive, destroy, to rob, and to take. All right. At the end of the day. All right. So I just wanted to do this quick lesson. Lord's will, this was edifying. Right. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who ruled well to the spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect out there. Stay diligent. Right? The household of faith, stay diligent, stay faithful, keep your trust and your faith in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right? Let him be your guide. Let him be your protection in these last days. All right? The Heavenly Father's name is Yahawah and his son's name is Yahawashi. All right? The name of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it and are safe. All right? In these last days. And with that, we say a ball, and shalom.